Welcome to Hey We're Talking. We're here, and we're excited because you know what today is? Midweek Man Stuff. Midweek Man Stuff. Boom. Derek made some hand gestures for those of you listening on the podcast.
And Bob.
And Bob too, but Bob made a noise too, so okay. Any which way, you guys introduced yourselves without even knowing it. I'm Scott, and I've got Derek with me and Bob, and we're excited today because our friend Derek has received something. I think it actually last time we recorded, you were eagerly awaiting this gift to come in the mail. And we're going to talk today about coffee, espresso, and Derek's brand new toy. Derek, tell us about your brand new toy.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Scott. How are y'all doing? I just wanted to say hi.
Fantastic.
And
Doing great.
Well, in the Tant household last week, I purchased a nice, fancy, shiny new Italian espresso machine and grinder. So I have cafe quality coffee at my fingertips at all times, and it's pretty amazing.
That would be amazing.
Isn't Grindr like some kind of homosexual app?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Not that I know. I wouldn't know.
Sure. Okay. That was awkward.
No, it wasn't.
Thanks, Scott.
It was awkward, not awkward.
He just doesn't get my accent, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm from the Midwest too, man. I have the same kind of accent.
But you're not from Chicago. You're not from the Chicago suburbs. And we talk different here. That's all.
So I really enjoy coffee, and I've been drinking freshly ground, freshly roasted coffee for about 10 years now, and I've big on the French press, big on pour-overs, and I've always enjoyed a good espresso. I had this old Italian manual lever machine that I restored several years ago, and it did okay. It recently died on me, and so I decided to take the plunge and test the limits of my personal credit, and I financed out a pretty big purchase, but I do not regret it.
Listen, I wish people could see. Maybe we can somehow get a picture up, although you may have put it up on Instagram or something already. But
I have.
Yeah, go to Derek's Instagram, which I believe is it just Derek Tant or Derek J. Tant?
Derek J. Tant. At Derek J. Tant.
At Derek J. Tant on Instagram. This is like, we're talking like Starbucks here. This isn't like some, you got it from QVC. This is like the real deal.
No, yeah, you're correct. There are a handful of legitimate coffee retailers on the internet, and so I went to Clive Coffee out of Portland, Oregon, and they've partnered up with some companies in Italy, the home of espresso. And so I ordered some legit Italian-made, super awesome machines.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So is it pronounced espresso or espresso? I think a lot of other people do too.
Yes, it is espresso. A lot of people think it's called espresso, and I don't give a lot of hate on that. I just tell people, it's pronounced espresso, because people who do enjoy their coffee tend to get a little snobby. They tend to get a little snooty, a little snotty, and nothing. If you call it espresso, you're not. That kind of shows that you're really not into it. What's up, Scott?
There is this one way that you can tell that it's not pronounced espresso, because there's no X in the spelling of espresso.
Yeah, but how often do you actually see it spelled? You don't. People talk about it.
You could look it up on Google or something, and it'll show you ESS.
Anyways, Derek, can you explain exactly what espresso is? Because that's another thing that people don't understand. Is okay, this is some form of coffee. So, I get a shot in my Dunkin' Donuts coffee or whatever, or my Starbucks. But what is it?
Okay, that's an excellent question because a lot of people think that espresso is a roast level. People think, oh, it's there's Bob and Scott are giving each other these angry looks back.
I'm not mad at all.
I'm doing it because I know that was a great question, and Scott's like, so I was just like, in your
I was
face.
laughing because he said that you get an espresso shot at Dunkin' Donuts, and I don't know if they do that there.
Yes, they do.
They do?
Mine in Chicago, they do. Okay,
Maybe
Derek,
in
take
Chicago
it away.
they do it. Bob, I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm not laughing at you either. Go ahead.
Espresso is not like a roast level because espresso beans can be roasted to any level, light, medium, or dark. What espresso is a small amount of coffee, usually 10 grams of coffee. Well, a double shot. What I do is make 20 grams of coffee, and you put about 30 grams of water through it at 9 bars of pressure, 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Why are we talking like metrics and stuff? So how many coffee beans do I use?
Just explain the concept. This is too far. This is too deep for people.
Okay, espresso is a process. It is a preparation process for coffee. Just like you would have
beans or special coffee beans.
It's any coffee beans you want to use for the process. It doesn't have to be a specific espresso blend, but there are roasters who will create blends that are specifically for espresso. But you can use those to make a regular cup of coffee, and you can take regular coffee beans and make them for espresso. It has to be ground up very finely and put into what we call a portafilter basket and made into like a little puck. You have to tamp it down into a little puck, and then water is shot through that thing at a very high pressure, very high temperature to create a very thick, syrupy liquid that is coffee, but there's lots of oils, lots of volatiles. It's very thick, syrupy, and concentrated with flavor. Scott.
No, I'm listening. I'm literally listening to what you're saying. I like this. The volatiles, you have to explain that a little bit to people. What's a volatile?
Volatiles are the flavor compounds.
Okay.
Coffee is so complex when it's roasted, and Scott, you keep moving your head around. It's distracting.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. There's so many flavor compounds, so many chemicals, oils that are created when coffee is roasted. And when you grind that and you subject that coffee to the brewing process, it puts a lot of those flavors, those chemicals, those oils into the beverage. And they can disappear rather quickly. So that's why it has to be freshly roasted and freshly ground.
Okay. It's my understanding, now you're going way in depth here, but my understanding of an espresso was always that it was just like a very highly concentrated, and just like you said, like coffee that was just so intense. Like you were saying, it's almost like a syrupy, like when you go to Starbucks and you get a drink made there. You know, they'll put like 2 shots of espresso in it, and then they fill the rest with basically like steamed milk and whatever flavor or whatever. And isn't that basically how they make the drinks at Starbucks?
Well, yeah. Starbucks, I mean, a lot of coffee people who are like really into their coffee, people like me, don't really like Starbucks. I don't really care for it myself, and it's not because they're a bad company. I think Starbucks as a company is fantastic, but I do know that the quality, because they're such a huge purchaser of beans, the quality's not always very good. They roast at their one facility, and so there's always the question of freshness. I live in West Texas. How fresh are these beans? And I feel like they over roast. They roast them a little too dark for my taste.
They do. I agree. It tastes burnt.
Yeah.
A lot of times the stuff that I get from Starbucks tastes burnt.
And so there's so many more variables that go into coffee. You know, the person who makes coffee is called a barista. And I know at Starbucks, you got a lot of there's a lot of high turnover, a a lot of inexperience. You really have to know what you're doing to operate these machines to put out a really good shot of espresso, to make a really good coffee. You really have to understand your equipment. You have to understand the coffee. You have to be able to adjust your grind. You have to be able to adjust the temperature, your tamping technique, all these things that go into it. You have to be able to adjust. And so they're trying at Starbucks now to just make it automated. And when you add in, it's over roasted. When you add in, it's not fresh. When you add in questionable quality, it's not a very great experience for me. Now, if you like it, fantastic. But
I guess the one great thing that Starbucks has done has allowed introduced a lot of people to different types of coffee. So before Starbucks came along, there was pretty much like me in the Chicago area. It's Dunkin' Donuts. We all have maybe our Casey's or our gas station coffee or maybe a local coffee shop or something like that. So the one thing I do really like about Starbucks is the fact that they've introduced coffee to so many new people. And a lot of my friends, some former baristas, they're really, really into coffee now. And it's really just kind of it's got a great following. So we've talked a lot about espresso, but what about cappuccino? Because that's one of the most common drinks. And Derek, you were actually drinking a cappuccino just a few minutes ago, and he did it awesome. He poured it in there and wiggled it around and drew like a Mona Lisa in the foam. It was awesome.
I still don't know how to do the art. That any latte art or cappuccino art is purely by accident. But a cappuccino, a latte, any of that stuff is basically espresso plus milk. A cappuccino would be a shot of espresso plus maybe 6 ounces of steamed milk. Latte, you're looking at espresso plus more milk, maybe like 12 ounces. So there's no standard definition. What's up, Scott?
You guys forgot one of the major coffee players in the industry. I haven't heard anybody talk about McCafe.
I don't think I've ever had a cup of their coffee.
The McCafe stuff is it's not good. It's not good. I know a lot of people that love that stuff, though. I mean, they're always talking about, I got to get my McCafe, and I'm like, really?
That's because they put lard into it.
They do something. All the fast food places have some kind of secret sauce they put in there that makes you addicted to their food.
The pink goo. Yes. And I'll bring it back around. Starbucks, McDonald's, the Dunkin' Donuts, they do introduce a lot of people to coffee, get people aware of the vocabulary. But at the end of the day, they make a lot of coffee-flavored milkshakes, and they spread a lot of maybe misinformation about what is what. What is a cappuccino? What is a latte? What is a macchiato? Most people just know the Starbucks version of that. And what Starbucks says is a macchiato is not what it is traditionally.
And
not
Derek, you forgot today you talked about Americano. You forgot to mention the Americano.
The Americano. Well, I mean, I was just answering questions and trying to explain what espresso is. Sorry that I didn't throw in what is an Americano. An Americano is a shot of espresso with hot water added to it.
Boom. America. Hell yeah. Americano.
Since Derek is being interviewed here, let me ask you this. I'm a regular guy, just wants to buy a basic machine that will brew coffee, some espresso, some anything. Is there anything you could recommend? Something kind of cheap? Like I'm looking at one here, like the Ninja. It's a cappuccino maker, espresso maker. Anything you could recommend?
If you want a basic espresso machine, you probably want to look at the Gaggia Classic. That's going to be the best bang for your buck.
How
and if you just want to,
Derek?
Under 400.
Under 400.
Yes.
If you want
espresso. It's on Amazon for $3.79.
If you want something that is close to espresso but not quite, get you a mocha pot, a stovetop mocha pot.
There you go.
Invest in a good grinder. Invest in fresh beans.
Boom.
That's freshly roasted, freshly ground. Start with that, and then that will get you on your coffee journey. You don't just wake up and arrive at a, $2,000 espresso machine and $1,000 grinder. It takes a while to get there.
Yeah,
Bob's
if you're
like, that cost as much as my first car.
No, I'm thinking, man, I could have buy a drone, with that much. Dang.
Just so
My first
everybody
payment.
knows, on this episode, you learned a lot and you just got served. That's all I'm saying. Am I right or am I right? You got served.
Should I walk over to my drum set and never mind?
McCafe. Boom. Hey, thanks for listening to Hey, We're Talking. That was the best way to wrap up this show if you wanted the show to suck badly. And I did it. Thank you very much. Check us out on YouTube at Hey, We're Talking. Check us out at all of our other places, Hey, We're Talking, and just do the Hey, We're Talking thing. Doesn't that sound good, guys?
It's amazing.
Sounds great.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, the love in the room right now and
Or
all
in
the
a-
rooms across the country is undeniable.
This may be the last show.
This could be the last show. In fact, I think we'll just end it right there before we all kill each other.
Okay, see ya.
All right.